You're listening to Reimagined Radio. Real talk, real life, real magic.
In this episode, I want to issue a challenge, and it's actually a challenge that I'm giving myself as well. So listen in and see if you're ready to take it on. Welcome to Success Unlimited with Dr. Patricia Thompson. If you want to be more successful while also being happier at work and at home, you're in the right place. We'll be covering research along with little tweaks, tips, and hacks that will help you to fulfill your potential in the business world without sacrificing your peace of mind. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I have a PhD in psychology, and during my career, I've used it in a number of ways. So currently, I'm a corporate psychologist, and I'm an executive coach, and I work with senior leaders, and I've been doing this work for over 10 years. But before that, I had a lot of other experiences. I was a clinical psychologist working in a hospital with people with severe mental illness. I also worked at an Ivy League university providing therapy and career counseling. And I've also taught university-level courses and a lot of other workshops. So what I'm basically trying to say is that I've worked with a lot of different kinds of people during my life. You know, people who are high achieving, people who are struggling, people who are establishing their careers, people who are established in their careers, and people who aren't even sure what they want to do yet. And one thing that I've noticed is that most of us, and this includes me, most of us simply aren't making the most of our gifts. We let fear, complacency, indecision, an unwillingness to be vulnerable, or any other number of issues get in the way. And as a result, we don't become all that we could be. And so my challenge to you is to make this next year, 2018, a year in which you use your gifts to the fullest. And, whatever that means for you. And, most of us have a lot of gifts. So you might not be able to use them all simultaneously. But even if you just pick a couple and commit to doing all you can to develop and share those gifts with the world, I'll bet some pretty incredible things could happen in your life. So, what might this look like? Well, I said that this is a challenge that I'm giving myself to. So I'm going to use myself as an example. And one of my gifts is teaching people. I have a skill for educating people and sharing my insights and advice with them in a way that they can really hear and in a way that helps them. And even though I challenge my clients, they always know that I'm on their side and that I'm doing everything in my power to help them to live happier lives and to be more successful. And I'm comfortable saying this is my gift because I personally feel it, but I've also gotten a lot of really glowing feedback about it. Now, to some of you, it might sound like I'm doing a bit of bragging, but you know what? I have struggled with being shy about my gifts. It's something that I still sometimes struggle with. And I think that shyness is really the first step towards not actually using them to the fullest. And so right now, I'm choosing to own them. So yes, these are things that I'm good at, and that's just the way it is. I've accepted that. So anyway, this gift of educating people and sharing my insights with them, I feel like I have done a lot with it. I've made a career of it, and I try to share my advice through my writing, my courses, my coaching, and, even in this podcast. But have I made the absolute most of it? Well, if I'm being honest, I have to say no. For example, there are things that I've thought about doing, like doing more public speaking, or even something as simple as playing around with Facebook Live, and I've held myself back from doing it. I've told myself things like, who am I to do that? Or who knows how people would respond? Or I don't even know if I'd be good at that. Or I don't want to make a fool of myself, so I think I'm not even going to try. And as a coach, I definitely know better than that. I know that, you don't know how you're going to do in something unless you try it. I know that even if my appearance wasn't perfect the first time through, I would get better across time. But the fear of being vulnerable like that has stopped me. But lately I've been thinking that I really do want to fulfill my potential and really feel like I've done my absolute best. And I really do want to share more so that I can inspire more people and help them. I want to help them to be the best versions of themselves. I don't want people to have regrets that they've sold themselves short. And I want them to enjoy the feeling of accomplishment that really comes from challenging yourself and witnessing your own growth from really having, put yourself out there. And so my challenge to myself is to fully commit to using my strengths as a teacher and to share those gifts to the best of my ability. And to that end, I've actually already joined a public speaking group so that I can continue to hone my skills, get some more reps under my belt, and feel more comfortable doing it. And by announcing this and putting it out there, I'm also upping the ante on myself to make sure that I actually follow through with this. And so I challenge you to join me. So what are your gifts and talents? How would you like to develop them? How would you like to share them with the world? And how could you get started today? And if you take on this challenge, and I hope that you will, I can't guarantee that it will always feel easy, but the thing is that if you decide in advance that it's going to be hard, and so there's no point in even starting, then that's obviously not the right approach. Time's still going to pass, and that time is going to pass without you moving towards something that could be really beneficial to you. One of the things that I have found is that the growth that comes with challenging yourself is totally worth it. And since, I've been sharing in this episode, I'm going to give you another example from my own life. So a few months ago, I decided that I wanted to be healthier. And with that in mind, I committed to cleaning up my diet. And specifically, one of the things that I decided to do was to give up sugar. Now, I've tried healthy eating in the past with varied results, but I decided that this time was going to be different. I wasn't going to think about the past. Past is gone. I was going to live in the present and look forward. And so what was different about this time was that instead of being motivated by self-criticism or feeling like I wasn't good enough, I was motivated by actually wanting to see what my potential was. I wanted to see how healthy I could get and what I could actually accomplish. And so I decided that I was fully committed to it. I decided there was going to be no excuses because I was 100% committed to it. And this idea of being fully committed was really an important one for me because it meant that I was going to devote myself to riding out the ups and downs. It meant that I wasn't going to make excuses, or if I tried to make an excuse, that I wasn't going to allow myself to give into it. So I did, and eventually, you know what? It actually worked. So as of today, I started 10 weeks ago. I've gone 10 weeks without sugar. Okay, actually 10 weeks minus a day. I did have a slip up, but then the next day, instead of using that as an excuse to abandon my efforts, I got right back on it. And what I can say is that it definitely wasn't easy at first. The first week really wasn't pretty. I was tired and I was irritable, but since I had promised myself that I was going to do it and give my 100% effort, I kept with it. And then after that week of misery, I bounced back and I actually had more energy than ever. And across time, my endurance has gone up at the gym. Like seriously, when I worked out this morning, I was so proud of myself and even a little amazed at some of the stuff that I could do. My tennis game is so much better. And I've lost 27 pounds since that time and counting. I still plan to continue because I committed to this and I stuck with it and I wrote it out. And believe it or not, now it actually is easy for me to have no sugar in my diet. It's become a habit. And so I'm not having to put effort into it anymore. It's just kind of the thing that I do. So I've transitioned from someone who was trying to give up sugar to someone who has given up sugar. And, I don't know if I'll always be someone who doesn't eat it, but for now, it's really working for me. And so I'm totally not messing with it. I'm continuing on with my 100% commitment. And I can tell you that the feeling that I have now was so worth the bit of discomfort that allowed me to grow in this way. Like seriously, it's one of the best things that I've done this year. I'm so glad I did it. Wilma Rudolph, she was a legendary sprinter and she was a world record holder and she was also an Olympic champion. She was really famous in her day. And I love this quote from her. She said, "Never underestimate the power of dreams and the influence of the human spirit. We're all the same in this notion. The potential for greatness lives within each of us." I truly believe that, and I don't want to be on my deathbed feeling like I sold myself short, and I hope that you don't want to be either. So, what are you going to challenge yourself to do this year, and how are you going to use your gifts? And because I'm committed to doing it myself, and I also want to help some other people to do it too, I'm actually going to create a Facebook group devoted to it. And it'll be a place where you can share your commitments, and you can also get support from other like-minded people. All the research suggests that if you commit to something publicly, you're more likely to follow through on it. And also if you get support, you're more likely to follow through. And so we can all help each other out. Now, as of this recording, I haven't worked out all of the details, but in the meantime, if you're interested in taking part of the challenge, go to silverliningspsychology.com/success and join the mailing list. So again, that's silverliningspsychology.com/success. And then I'll let you know when it's up and running. I'm super psyched about this, and I hope that you'll be too. And so I really hope that you're going to join me so that we can make this our best year ever. Now, as always, I love to hear from you, so feel free to visit me on my website at silverliningspsychology.com or say hello on Twitter at Patricia_ATL. Have a fabulous day.